Hey everybody, it is Monday evening, so here's a super big rarity, which is two videos in the same day. I know some of you have watched the video this morning, and hopefully the rest of you will get to it soon. But I am working through grading assignments. I just went through the discussion assignments. I haven't posted them yet. And I'm just noticing a number of things that are going on, and sometimes I feel like it's better if I just reach out this way, although I'm not sure how many of you will see it, and probably the folks that need to see it won't. Some of you did a great job. You got the question. The question was on how did the British save rock and roll? Or people say that it's what is meant by that. And, you know, if you go through the materials, if you go through the book and you go through the online materials, you figure out pretty quickly that American rock and roll was on its way out. It had kind of died with what had happened with, in some cases literally, but what had happened with, Buddy Holly, Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, and all of that kind of stuff. And so there was this opening that took place in terms of this sort of rock music. There was teen idol pop that was coming up. There was soul and Motown, but the roots of this wasn't there, and certainly blues had largely gone by the wayside. And what happened with bands like the Beatles and the Stones, and then later others, was that they basically went back to the roots of American music. They went to the blues. The Stones and those other British bands went to the roots of blues music, and the Beatles went to the roots of rock and roll. They loved Carl Perkins and Little Richard and Chuck Berry, and so what you had was this group of British musicians that went back to the source and then made it hugely popular. And that's how and why the British basically kind of saved rock and roll and saved American music in a lot of ways. There was other cool stuff going on, but in terms of blues and rock and roll, if the Beatles and the Stones hadn't done what they did, who knows what would have happened with it. And I know it's always those, who knows kind of things. So there's a number of things going on, and you got to understand, as a professor, I care very much about you. I care that you learn. I care that you understand. I also care very much about music. I'm very passionate about it, and hopefully that's evident. And if you look around my studio, you can see that I'm very passionate about it. I deal with music every day. I'm writing it or playing it or teaching about it, doing all that good stuff. And so I want you to be putting the time in. So I got quite a few in there that were completely off topic, that had nothing to do with what was being asked. And what I started to do is I started thinking, well, what's going on? What's being missed? My first assumption is that some of you are not reading the book. Some of you probably don't even have the book. Some of you are not going through my online materials. Those support the book. They're not in place of the book. And then I started to look at, well, how much time is being invested in the class? So I can look that up and see how much work that you've put in that. And there are students that have put in 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. At the beginning of the class, I mentioned that you should really be putting in probably about 5 hours per module. I know it's a lot, but remember, this is a full semester and half the time. So that's what you signed up for. And so some of you are down low. Quite a few of you are only somewhere in the 10 to 15 hour range. You should really be at 30 to 40 hours. Now, I know full well that you can click into Canvas, move things around, leave it open. You can game the system. But if I see 5 and 10 and 15 hours, I know you're not even doing that. This isn't about trying to fool me. It's not trying to see how little you can get away with. This is about your education. And so it is about what you learn and then what you take out into the world that allows you to be, and hopefully helps you to be, a more knowledgeable human being out in the world. And all of these things, as I mentioned in the video that was released this morning and everything, is that all of this connects to history. All of this is connected. Again, here we are in 2020 fighting the same battles that we were fighting in 1965 and 1968, and the same battles that we were fighting 50 years before that and 100 years before that. And guess what? A lot of these battles actually go back thousands of years globally. So there's a bigger context here. If you are unsure what is being asked, message me. Write me in Canvas and say, hey, am I on the right track when you say this and I think it's this? I'm not going to pre-read it and grade it for you, but I will tell you, yes, you're on the right track. No, you're not on the right track. But I also noticed that there's a lot of these assignments that are coming in at the last minute. And maybe there's a bunch of you that are going, oh, heck, I'm almost out of time. I got to hurry up and get that turned in. And then you're not putting the work in. These all result in low points or no points, which is ultimately going to impact your grade at the end. I want all of you to do well. But if you know, in the state of the world right now, with everything that's going on, if this is too much, if this is just one thing too much to your plate, drop the class and retake it again when it's a better time. You know, there's no shame in that. That's not failing. That's like going, hey, I gave this a shot. I thought I could do it. Maybe it was a little more than I could handle right now, or I'm just spread too thin, or things are going on at home and I really can't focus my energy the way that I need to and my time. That's all fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And so there are some folks that I'm seeing very limited activity. So I will be doing another drop here in the next day or two to clean things up a little bit. But, you know, take some time to think about, why are you going to college? What are you doing this for? What's the desired end result? I will tell you honestly and sincerely, the desired end result should not be the piece of paper. Because when people hire you and you go on in life, they're not going to ask for the piece of paper. They're going to talk to you about what you learned. They're going to see what you bring to wherever you end up. You know, whatever vocation you're doing or whatever you end up doing, you know, for your life. These are the reasons that we do this. So, you know, I don't want to come off like the parent. I don't want to come off harping. I want the best for you. I do this because I care. If I didn't care, I'd say, 0, 0, 0, whatever. And hey, I have a son who's in college right now, and some of his experiences are like that. I'm not that kind of guy. I can't do that. So if you watched this video, please reply. Just say, hey, I got it, understood, thank you, appreciate it, you're totally wrong, whatever you're thinking, that's fine. Just reply to this so that I know that you saw this, and manage your time well. It's a lot of work. I get that. So just plan accordingly, be realistic with yourself. The most important thing is that you're healthy physically, you're healthy mentally, you're healthy spiritually, and that you're balancing your life as best that you can. Okay, that's it. I care. Reach out if you need to. Take good care. Good night.